don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
On, say it with me. Do it, lady. Hello. Yes. Good Lord. It was such a better day today. Such a nice, cool day. I was riding around with my windows down, just enjoying the coolness. Woo! My God, it was amazing. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Now, I would have liked a little bit of sunshine, but I'm okay in the dark and gray. I'm all right with that. That's just my speed. What an amazing day it was today, Tweety Bird. I love seeing that comment right as we were coming on. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 499th episode. 499 episodes of Babbling Greatness. 499th episode of the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Christopher H. Bilbrey. Welcome, 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 and welcome. We've got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a wonderful show. It's that time of year in Indiana as all the towns, cities, and counties prepare for their budgets for 2026. The city of Muncie just had their DLGF budget workshop meeting today. I am currently in some form of communication, very tried and tense communication with Muncie's District 2 City Councilor, Nora Powell, trying to find out information about today's budget meeting. We're not having much luck, but we're having better luck than if I was trying to communicate with Dan Ridenauer, the mayor. So we'll take what we can get, I guess. But yeah, it's that time of year. Never is there a more stressful period in local government ever, forever, anytime, always, than budget time. Over the next several weeks and months, we here at the Political Spotlight will be exploring different aspects of the budget process across all of our areas of coverage, be that Muncie, Winchester, Newcastle, Anderson, blah, 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 Marion, Indianapolis, wherever it is, wherever we see something interesting. And all, of course, all of the counties of those cities too, being Delaware, Randolph, Henry, Madison, Grant, Marion. So wherever, if you have a budget story, if something interesting is happening, let us know. If we're not normally covering it, we will. On top of everything else. I mean, it's been a day. It's been a day. It's Thursday evening. This is obviously the last night of the week, of our broadcast week. There's so much happening. My to-do list and the list of tasks I've been working on have doubled in the last couple of days. There's so much going on. We're just moving forward, taking as it comes, and kind of trying to triage things the best we can, but we will get it all covered. Over the next several weeks and months, as I said, we'll be exploring different aspects of the budget process across all the varied covering areas. That said, for this 499th episode, we're going to begin looking at Madison County, Indiana. And a lot of you, I know there are going to be people out there that say Madison County. Well, first of all, we just don't have a lot of other information for other counties. Everybody's just in the starting point. Madison County has actually held their workshop, and now they have actually held a special meeting on Tuesday, and they've just kind of jumped the gun ahead of everybody else. But besides that, Madison County Council and the Madison County Commissioners have always struggled with the budget process. Year after year, it seems to become more of a tangled mess, leading them to pass a budget that they really never intended to follow through on. Having held a budget workshop a couple of weeks ago and following a special meeting this past Tuesday, they are already there's already more than enough going on to raise a couple of questions. What the hell are they really up to? Contributing correspondent Dr. Catherine Callahan will be joining me here in just one moment to discuss this process. And I'm sure, as often is the case, a few other issues will likely pop up along the way. I do want to just briefly say before we bring Catherine on, I did have a correspondence today with someone from Blackford County. I think we might be starting to kind of move the wheels of getting some records from there a little bit quicker. And I did officially submit a record request to Alexandria. I want to try to hold off on much more conversation about that until we get some records and I see some stuff in my hands, or they tell me no and we push back because we just kind of keep going over. We'll see what happens. I'm sure that'll come up in topic. I've already seen it being talked about in the comment section. Along with that, I did attend a special meeting of the Anderson City Redevelopment Commission meeting today. I attended the meeting along with a couple of other citizens from Anderson, one of those citizens being Rebecca Crooms. I was happy to sit and talk with Rebecca and a couple of her friends. The meeting was a special meeting, so they only covered a couple topics. Rebecca did get up and kind of move around and video the room a little bit, and no one said anything. They was nice as can be to me. People that I've never met, people. I mean, I've known these people for years. I've had a relationship, an adversarial relationship with Ikes and Broderick for 10 plus years. That being said, they were nice. Everything was cool. They didn't make no fuss about anything. But I will be attending their regular August meeting, which will occur on Tuesday, August 12th. And so we will attend that meeting and see what happens. Now, that's going to be a real quick meeting because I'm going to have to attend it. And then I'm going to get back to the Plan Commission meeting. So we've got two things back to back that night. Bam, bam, bam. So we'll see. We've also got the Madison County Council meeting. That's going to be a crazy night. So we'll see what goes on. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and bring on our very special contributing correspondent, Dr. Catherine Callahan.
Okay, I'm not ready because I'm like sharing everything, but we can.
Of course, you're fine.
We can talk about everything. So on this tonight, what I want to do first, when I talk to everybody, I'm going to make this, as we move into talking about Madison County and we talk about what's going on, there seems to be a huge issue when it comes to funding the sheriff's office. Now, me looking in from the outside, part of this is just the fact that Beeman beat their boy Emory. And so we've all seen this. I mean, we've all seen this. We've all watched this. It's the same thing that happened when I was in the coroner's office. You beat their person, they've got issues with that. And I mean, they can sit there and argue and say it's not true, but I'm telling you right now, it's true. So
real quick, back up just to give people that might not know a history. So Anthony Emery is a longtime state trooper. He's a lifelong trooper. He's a state trooper, but besides being a state trooper, he is also an elected official. He has been was for many years a Madison County council member. And while he was on the council, while he was a state trooper, while he was on the council, he ran for when Mellinger, the former sheriff of ran 2 terms. When Scott Mellinger was termed out, Emery counselor, Madison County councilor Emery ran for sheriff, and it was a contested race, hotly contested, and they put everything they could into it. But Beeman beat him out, and so since he beat him out for sheriff, Emery was not the sheriff, but he was still a counselor, and then he just ran. Well, what happened there? He didn't run for council, so then someone left, and he got caucused in to fill a spot, right?
Emery?
Yeah.
So Emery originally was caucused in, then he ran in 20, he won a seat, and then he did not run again in 24. And he was
no, I know. Okay, I know. But when he beat when the sheriff beat him, he was what was he an at-large or was he a district?
So it's funny because when he was caucused in, he was a district person. Then he moved, and he did it right with, well, they say he did it right when there was time to run for at-large. So that's how.
So then when he ran for sheriff, he was opposite from the district. So then when he lost the sheriff's race, because the sheriff runs when the district races are up.
Correct.
So that allowed him to still be on the council, which allowed him and others to have a kind of a grudge against Beeman.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's like, it is what it is. You sit here and you watch all this. I mean, it's absolute. And here's the thing. It's not happening just in Madison County. It's not happening just to, it's happening all over. I mean, this is like a big deal. And it's going to be interesting because Alva's here tonight and Cindy's here tonight. So, and most of you have been watching the social media posts. Most of you have been watching the beatings that are going on right now. The truth seems to be a problem. Like, I don't know that it's a problem. I don't have a problem with the truth. And perhaps the reason why I can get up in front of everybody is because I don't have to do a lot to remember what I'm saying.
Sure.
Because I'm saying the truth. Now, that could be said too of somebody who, continues to lie all the time, and then they just, that's the way they live their life. So they think what they're saying at that very moment is the truth. And it's like, they didn't say anything like that. So the whole thing is, I want to show everybody, because there's just so much going on. I don't even know what to start or stop with. Christopher's like, I don't want to talk about any more water. Well, we're going to have to talk about a little bit of the water. But as we move into the council meeting, where they had this meeting the other night, and they talk about the budgets, what they're going to fund, what they're not. I want people to understand there is $5 million in interest money that this county made off of the ARPA funds. ARPA funds were truly made to help the citizens. That's what it was made for.
Yes.
It was made for the people to offset the expenses that we would incur, whether they would be in 2020, 21, 22, or 23. But instead, in Madison County, they took the ARPA money, they banked it. They didn't care about what was going on. We were one of 3 counties during an epidemic that raised taxes. Only 3 counties did that. Now, let's talk about some greed. So on top of doing that, they've continued to raise taxes through this time period. They've continued to raise public safety funds, which you don't see that the sheriff got much of that either. The sheriff's department has not gotten much of the ARPA funds. Now, they can argue that the ARPA funds went to the jail, but we all know that you cannot use ARPA funds towards building a jail. So that's another whole show. And I'm telling you, at some point, this county is going to get an audit. And at some point, this county is going to be paying double because you're going to have to pay back the ARPA money and then pay for whatever it is they bought for it. So you're going to be paying double essentially. Now, with this $5 million, the commissioners believe it is owed to them, that they are the only ones who should be able to have access to that money. And they should be able to decide what to do with this money without any oversight. I don't believe that's how government was intended to do. But I will tell you that some sheriffs, at some point, when I think we come up with what is actually going on, will be very happy to put some handcuffs on some people.
Yeah, Delaware County, a lot of places have done the same thing. Delaware County did the same thing. They instead of putting it in the hands of the fiscal body, which let's be honest, in most of these places, the council's not much different than the commissioners. I mean, let's be honest. If your council had possession of this money over the commissioners, nothing different would happen.
Right.
Because all they do is acquiesce to the commissioners' wants and needs all the time anyways. So give it to the commissioners, give it to the council, make a large body of a mixture of commissioners and council, and hell, even put a couple citizens on it. They're still going to do what they want because it's Madison County and the whole lot of them are broken and defunct, save for one or two. That's just not enough to make the decision right. So there was a time, and I don't know if you've covered this, everything kind of blends together after a period of time, but there was a time where you and I were talking after a show one night and you were looking over some stuff, and there was a very large amount of money that seemed to be unexplained. Did you ever cover that? You know what I'm talking about? It's been in the last couple of weeks.
Well, now we've got lapel that the Parks Department was missing. We've got We've got Madison County when they keep telling us that we only have like 13 million in the rainy day fund, but when you go to the DLGF, they have over $100 million. Yeah. So we don't know where that money's at. I mean, there's just stuff that is everywhere, and they have so many pots that nobody can, keep track of what they're doing. I mean, it's a full-time job. You're doing this as a full-time job, but it's like babysitting cockroaches. I don't even know how else to say it. And, until the people get more involved, I don't know what more can be done. And I'm going to tell you that, when you watch these elected officials, and what gets me so angry is that we keep recycling this trash. I do not understand. I mean, you've got Scott Green, Jonathan Culp, Diana Likens. I mean, I can show you Rob Steele. We've got to fund the public safety. We've got to, support our officers. They say all the right things, but then we get there. And no one is there to do what they promised to do. It's hot air and empty promises. And this is a problem. Tonight when I was posting and I'm reading all these different posts. Oh, these people are nice people. You people understand that nice people do really bad things. People need to understand that when greed and power, when you get a taste of it, it's like an alcoholic. It's a taste of poison. And that poison becomes so delicious that they forget what they truly were supposed to be doing in the first place. And so now it didn't even take 6 months for Green to bite from the apple. He's already shutting up the public. He wants them quieted down. He wants everything silenced. I agree with you, Cindy. Christy Grabowski's been a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
I like Christy Grabowski. And this is the thing. I am tired of people saying that, oh, you're bashing somebody. No one's bashing anybody. The proof is there. She doesn't step up. She doesn't give a second. She doesn't speak for the people. And that's the problem. She sits there like somebody has taken her voice. And I don't understand why that's even the case.
Yeah, because the thing to me with this is on a council.
Agreed, Gary. Christy is doing just as she's told. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's absolutely. So the thing is, on a council, the major part of what needs to happen is the discussion. And in a lot of these cases, if you don't have the second, you can't have further discussion. And now you could second something for the discussion. She could even say this, like, I don't know if I agree with this or not, but I'm going to second this just so we can have discussion. And then I still might vote the opposite way on this, but you should have, like, someone should always second the issue.
She ran on the campaign that she was in the Navy.
Yeah.
She should be beating down the wall when Green says our citizens aren't going to get to speak. Our citizens are only going to get one warning. She should be saying, yeah, I don't agree with that because I went to serve these people. And so they're going to have the right to speak. So it's been an interesting twist and turn. But what I'm most interested tonight, and I will tell you, I believe in law enforcement. Whether you believe in them or not, I believe in them. Okay. Yep. I have never had a bad encounter with an officer. I just haven't. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm not saying that I won't one day, but I haven't. Have I seen terrible things out of the Madison County Prosecutor's Office? Absolutely. I don't trust the Madison County prosecutors at all. I mean, we have seen that over and over. But as far as the officers that I've engaged with, and I have engaged with many of them, they do not deserve the way they are being treated. And I'm going to tell you something. What is most disgusting to me is that Scott Mellinger is in this county. He was their past leader. And he himself does not come out and say, what are you doing? These men and women get dressed every day. They come out to serve us, to defend us to the best of their ability. They're not perfect. And then you say, they don't know if they're going home to see their kid tonight. They don't know if they're going to kiss their mom and dad ever again. And we can't pay for them? We can't fund them? What are you doing? One county over, these men and women can get paid $20,000 or $30,000 more for a lot less headache. So I don't know what the thought process is here. And to see a physician have such disrespect for law enforcement blows my mind. I just can't even believe. Now, as we move into this, and I want to tell you before we watch the video, and then I want to revisit this statement that I'm going to put up here. If it will go, it's a pretty big one. A new contract was signed by the commissioners, okay, after failed renegotiations last year. Most notably, pay increases over 3 years were supposed to happen, 21% in 2026, because you have to see our officers are not paid nearly what they should be getting paid.
Really quickly, before you can, is this somewhere besides, I know you posted it in here, but it breaks it up. Is this someplace that we can put it up where people can see it?
I mean,
like while we're reading it?
I mean, I can send it to you.
Can you send it to me in Messenger and I'll put it in Google Earth or in Google Docs?
Okay, so
I'll copy and paste it.
See here.
Send it to me in Messenger. Sorry, because the messages kind of break it up with how that is, which is a big pain in the ass.
Oh, hold on a second.
And I'm glad you stumbled over renegotiations. People think like Bilbrey's retarded. He can't read.
No,
it's harder than you think on here on the little thing and reading and talking. It is harder on here. I am also I I was always told it's not good to get hooked on things like drugs or phonics. So I do stumble quite frequently, but it is harder on here than just reading to yourself off in nowhere land. Okay, you sent that to me there. Let me. Is that whole thing? Is that just the whole statement there?
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You can read it.
Okay. Let me put this up here, and I'll put it on the screen for everybody to see.
And it's just, and the reality is the officers deserve it. They and here's the thing. I'm not saying dispatch doesn't deserve it. So,
well, it's the bottom line is everybody deserves raises in a rate that makes sense, that when they can do it. And if they're in a position where they've been giving raises to everyone else in the county for a period of time, they at some point have to deal with giving raises to the law enforcement at some point, because they do work for the county. When you're looking at this point, when you're looking at them, it's not like, oh, they're cops. They're just county employees. They could be trash guys. They could be the county highway. They could be the health department. They're just a grouping of employees who, if you've given raises to all of these other departments for so long and you've not given a raise to this department, at some point raises do have to come.
And they do. And here's what I want people to understand. If you are from Madison County, if you have been following this, last year, the dispatch needed raises. They were paid too low.
Yep.
So what happened was, a dispatch came in. They said, no, we don't have any funds to raise the call center. We can't do this. We can't do that. This went on for the majority of the year. Then came into the fall, and it was still a problem. Well, they were losing dispatchers to other areas that weren't as busy. They were losing them to Madison County. They were getting paid more in Hancock County. So they were, losing, and the acuity wasn't high. Let me tell you something. There is a difference between an ICU nurse and her pay and a floor nurse.
Sure.
Because the acuity of the individual. Now you can say, well, ICU, it's a 1-to-1, or you only have 2 patients when their floor has 12. It's a lot different. Keeping somebody alive, and granted, floor nursing is just important as ICU nursing. There's a lot more stress. Are we going to intubate this person? Are they going to crash on us? Are they, and the same thing happens on the floor, but those people aren't as sick as the ones that are sitting in ICU. So there's a little bit of a difference here. This is the same thing in Madison County. It's very dangerous in Madison County. We are the 6th most dangerous county out of 92 and climbing. When I came in as coroner in 21, we were 9th. Now, this isn't a reflection of Beeman, because this number had already changed under Mellinger. And then as we moved through all of this, we've got the prosecutor's office in a meeting saying that we are the 3rd highest county at putting people in prison.
Yeah.
Listen, our officers are in dangerous positions. If these are our numbers, I don't call that anything to brag. I mean, I wanted to ask, so are you trying to get to number 1? I mean, is that the goal? Because, I hear so often that, they're bringing them in, the prosecutors are releasing them. They're bringing them in, the prosecutors are releasing them. And here's the thing. I get it. Prosecutors' job is hard. But here's the thing. If prosecutors were really smart, you know what I would do? I'd invest in the people and the boots on the ground. That's who I'd invest in. Because if I invest in those people, I may not be so busy over here in the prosecutor's area.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's kind of like health. If I invest in people and be proactive and give them healthy choices, then I won't see them as much in their older life, right? Because
Sure.
they'll be exercising and eating better. It's the same thing. So if you want to read that for the people.
So this says, a new contract was signed by the commissioners after failed renegotiations last year. So we're talking 2024, correct?
Correct.
Most notably, pay increases over 3 years, 21% in 2026, 6% in 2027, and 6% in 2028. Also included were additions to attract lateral applications and financial incentives for specialty positions such as SWAT, drones, negotiators, canine, fatal crash team, etc.
And that's the whole thing. How's that recruiting going? I mean, if people are watching this, they're going to say, "You guys don't ever get your raises. Why would we come over there?"
Well,
I
yeah.
can go over to Hamilton County. I can go to Hancock County. It's much better. Hey, listen, I know they're not going to Newcastle.
No, listen, and
Right?
you're right. Well, and here's the thing. They can go to Hancock or Hamilton County and get a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year raise and take half the calls.
Yeah.
So
So
you got to look, it's not just a raise in money. It's a raise in money. It's a substantial raise in cash, and
they might get to eat dinner every night.
a drop in call volumes. Same thing we're dealing with here in Muncie. People love Muncie police officers, Anderson police, meaning other departments, love officers who have been trained in Muncie, Anderson, Delaware County, Madison County, because they are having high call numbers and they're doing more in 1 year or 2 years worth of training right after being out of the academy than you're doing in a lot of other places. Now, the other issue is there are a certain number of people who say, look, I don't care what the money is. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a police officer in my hometown, in my home county, and I'm going to stay here. And so for those people, the people are saying like, look, I don't want to go to Hamilton County because I do want to be here. At some point we have to make these people,
But
we have to pay them money for them to be able to do the job they're doing. And at the end of the day, everywhere's crazy in government. Everywhere's crazy everywhere and in everything. There's nobody's wanting to work at Wendy's. Nobody wants to work at Arby's. Nobody's wanting to work go to Walmart. No one wants to work there. No one, there's all issues in all these places, and people are having to do more with less. And the government, who does not like to do that, they always want to they want to do exactly the opposite. The government wants to do less with more, where everybody else is needing or trying to do more with less. They're like, no, we want more and we want to do less. When you're getting down to the bare bones, at some point you're going to have to say, like, isn't there, I think something we're going to watch here, or maybe we're not going to watch it, maybe it was said afterwards, but am I right that Councilor Green said something to the effect of Beeman is going to have to pick his top 2 or 3 priorities?
But it was started with Diana Likens.
Okay.
And so I don't know if David Sargent is watching. I don't know if he can quickly find that time where it says it. He's got it on his video. It's towards the beginning, but they really tell him, like, you're going to have to prioritize. Well, here's a news flash, Madison County. We don't need a tower clock. That's 50 grand.
I mean, that's just an absolute waste.
Right?
If you want to talk about that's stupid.
We're 8 months into the year and the clock still hasn't been functioning.
Has anybody seen anybody up working on it? Anybody like
they keep
ladders and shit?
Yeah, they keep saying that, oh, well, we need, we're going to need, parts, and we got to order the parts because it's so old, and we need this and we need that. So here's the thing. They're going to go into next year and they're going to say, I need money to do the clock. And I say this because this is the common theme. And the prosecutor's office, no, I'm going to give it to you tonight. Because in 22, when Officer Chanovez passed, and today is his anniversary, so may our thoughts be with their families and for what they have all sacrificed. And this is exactly what I am talking about. So, Dave, if you can find in the first part where Beeman was up there at the podium, where they're telling him the time stamp where he has to choose 3 things, and that's what he's going to have to do. So, as you know, so that's a terrible thing, and it's a terrible tragedy. You would think, because we haven't even had this case, that our elected officials would be a lot more humble and more willing to take care of our officers. What's interesting, though, I want to tell everybody here is that I'm the one who brought Officer Chanovez back to the county. I couldn't get Scott to help me, and I was able to find the other officers who all stepped up. Even his own officers at the county stepped up to help me. That's how amazing it was. It was like, okay, he's not willing to do it, but we're willing to do it. And at the end of the day, I don't see where the prosecutor keeps coming back every year. 22, it's going to cost at least $1 million to try this. 23. So in 22, they set it aside. In 23, yeah, we're going to need probably $2 million this year. What do? They set it aside. In 24, we need all this money to try this case. What do? They set over the number. Where is all that money? I mean, we've only spent 400 and some thousand on it. So where exactly is all this money you guys keep setting aside for a murder case? I mean, this is my problem. My problem is last August, I was walked out of a meeting because the commissioner, Tom Ecker, their secretary, stood at the podium and said, I need $100,000 because I have $80,000 in bills I have to pay. That's a misappropriation of funds. He should never even gotten that money. He should actually be charged with a Class B misdemeanor along with the commissioners. And I'm the one walked out for speaking the truth. And that's what I'm telling you in Alexandria. For you people who are speaking the truth never needs defending, because it will come. Because a couple of months ago, when I'm sitting in front of the commissioner's office, somebody came up, or the council, somebody came up to the podium and asked for money. And what did Scott Green do? He led the witness.
Yeah.
He said, now, you don't need that money because you've already spent it, right? Because we just want to be clear about misappropriation of funds. Listen, they're all listening. They all know what they're doing. They all know that they should be choosing their words wisely. But it will come. I have faith. I have faith that in time it will come. And so now we've got officers who, you're right, they love this county. They may have been born and raised in this county. This is their county. This is their home. They don't want to go somewhere else. But when you keep maxing the taxes in our county, you keep killing us with the water, you keep letting more and more homeless infiltrate all over the county, they're not going to raise their families here. They're not going to keep them. Nobody's going to put their family at harm because they love this county so much. I mean, they do it and they're trying to do it, but at some point they have to put food on the table.
Sure.
And they're going to have to eventually send kids to college. They're going to have to eventually retire. They're going to have to be able to put enough in their retirement. I mean, this is the whole part that we've got to see a much bigger picture than just right here. And so I want you to hear, do you want to talk about this, or do you want to see the article that was written about the whole meeting for the officers?
Yeah,
by
I think I saw the article.
That's in your
I think I've got the article here.
Yeah, it's in your messenger. And I mean, obviously it was said about pick the 3. Why? Because Ken Delabastide, he talked about it too. I don't know about you people, but in the coroner's office, I cannot tell you tomorrow how many people are going to die. I cannot tell you in 6 months how many people are going to die. It's the same with these officers. They can't tell us what their acuity is going to be, and they can't tell us how sick the person's going to be or how evil or corrupt. I mean, look at this boards guy who killed Officer Chanovez. He has now stabbed another person where he's being held. I mean, this is the craziness. I mean, should we have already just put the guy to death and we wouldn't be going through all this and spending all this money and he wouldn't have harmed this other, guard at the prison? I don't know why this is taking so long to prosecute this guy.
Wait a minute. Where is it in here?
It's at the end.
So
So
it's just today's paper, last meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can read both pieces, but it's at the end that they talk about it.
I'll just make sure this is it.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Now, see that, and when you read this title, tell me how you would feel if you were an officer and what were we at, 21%? And now we're like, we're just going to put the officers at 3% too.
Council hopes to include 3% pay hike. Sheriff is asked to trim budget request for his department. And the article says the Madison County Council is working on a 2026 budget that will provide employees with a 3% pay increase. This year, most county employees did not receive a pay increase. Requested general fund budgets for next year were in the amount of $49.2 million compared to a 2025 budget through July 17th of $45.2 million. Projected reductions by the council have the general fund budget at $47.1 million. The council met Tuesday with Sheriff John Beeman to discuss the 2026 budget for the jail and the sheriff's department. The requested jail budget is at $4.8 million compared to $4.5 million this year. Beeman said there will be a period of time when the county is operating 2 jail facilities, with the new jail expected to open sometime after September of next year. He said the county will see a savings in the cost of housing inmates in other counties when the new jail opens, with a capacity of 525 inmates compared to the 270 in the existing facility. Beeman said that the state raised the per diem rate paid to counties to house the lowest level felony convictions from $37 to $47 a day, and the counties have raised the daily rate. There will be a transition period. Is this where we are? Did we go from that to that?
Well, no.
From here?
Yeah, it goes to A2.
To here, okay. There will be a transition period, Council President Scott Green said of the new jail. The proposed budget for the sheriff's department is $5.6 million as compared to $4.4 million this year. The council is looking to reduce the budget to $5.1 million. Included in the sheriff's budget was a new contract for merit deputies, which is increasing the cost significantly. Auditor Todd Culp said the pay increase and several other items, the increase is $775,000. The commissioners earlier this year voted to approve the new contract, which will run from 2026 through 2028. The contract provides for a 21% pay increase in 2026 and 6% in both 27 and 28. Councilwoman Diana Likens asked Beeman about 3 priority funding areas, which include the maintenance of current vehicles, body cameras, and license plate readers, and other supplies such as uniforms and body armor. Beeman said he is hoping the commissioners will approve a request from the Capital Improvement and Asset Fund for the purchase of new patrol vehicles. He said the IT department requested a $55,000 in the budget to purchase new computers for the patrol cars. Beeman said he would like to spread that cost out over 3 years. We have to cut something, Green said. We would like you to make the reductions. This is a big budget with a substantial increase. Beeman agreed. This is the department of the public sees the most of, he said.
And here's the thing. When he did this, You see where it says, what's the difference there? So Beeman's budget's like at 4.4, and what do you want? 5.6?
No. Beeman's budget currently is 5.6 million, and they're wanting to see 5.1 million.
Okay. Well, but he was at 4.4 for this year.
4.4 for this year.
Let me explain to everybody that Beeman has done a very good job at running a more true budget than Scott Mellinger ever did. And then Scott Mellinger would come to the table all the time and ask for money. And I know some of you people on here are big Scott Mellinger fans. I get it. But at the end of the day, history is how we have to speak. There's nothing I can do about that. If he is asking for $1.2 million more, let me tell you something, you greedy commissioners. You give him the $1.2 million out of the interest money you've made, and you take care of your officers. Because I can guarantee every single one of you, when you get into trouble, who's the first person you're going to call? Let us all know, because we've seen it. Diana Likens will trip and flip over herself to go get the sheriffs if I'm calling them out on misappropriation of funds.
Yeah, let her see a real emergency,
right?
And
So here's what I have to say to the commissioners and the county council. Just think, if you give that $1.2 million to the sheriff's department where it belongs, that's $1.2 million less of misappropriation funds that you guys are going to jail for. That's how I look at this, because no way are you ever going to justify to me, ever, that you could not give bulletproof vests to these gentlemen or these women, but we got a clock tower. Well, I tell you what, why don't you drive yourself? Why don't you pick up the phone when you're half asleep? You just turned on Facebook and you're like, what's going on in Elwood? And then as you're looking at it, you get a call from Marion County's coroner's office that said there was a shooting last night. I had no idea that was going on. It's 6:30 in the morning. And they're saying, you need to come and get your person. We're very sorry for your loss, but this is more than we can handle right now. And so you look at these families, you take the families to a pole barn. I mean, it's hotter than Hades in there. It's over 100 degrees on this time, 3 years ago. And you mean to tell me that you can't equip our officers? You mean to tell me that you're worried about their oil change when you've got the health department who drives all the way up to Taylor University on our gas, on our dime? And we can't take care of the officers in our own county? You're buying fleets of vehicles for everybody else, and our sheriffs are supposed to take your crumbs? Where are the priorities in this county?
Do you guys have a Madison County Redevelopment Commission?
I think so.
Is there anybody that is on here that's watching live that can tell me if you have? So the Anderson city of Anderson has the Anderson City Redevelopment Commission. I just attended that meeting today. That's the meeting where they were all rude to Rebecca a couple weeks ago. So we attended that. But my question is, anybody that's watching, is there a county version of the Redevelopment Commission? City of Muncie has a Muncie Redevelopment Commission, and we have the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. Who is on the county Redevelopment Commission?
Somebody can Google that, I'm sure, and tell us.
She's saying Rob Sparks.
Yes, I would agree with that one. He's in everything. Rob has got his tentacles into everything. He's the one that brought LKQ to lapel. I mean, he's all about, it doesn't matter if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. All he cares about is he put a warm body somewhere. And that's not, I want quality officers. I want people who love the community and want to actually be here and serve. I want officers who know who my children are, who say, your mom would not approve of this.
Listen, people don't realize, if you, the more quality the applicant is, the more quality the officer is, the more likelihood you're going to get an officer who is not going to violate your rights, is not going to break the law doing weird shit, and is not going to just kill someone willy-nilly. when we're scraping the barrel for the bottom of the barrel people who are wanting to be cops, that's when you're getting these weirdos, these freaks, the people who are just out here to bully people who are out here because they think having a badge helps them get laid and things like that. You're wanting to get quality officers who will give you quality work instead of these people out here looking to stomp their boots on all of us. And I say that as someone who's worked with both good officers, quality officers, and not so quality officers.
And merit raises are very important. I mean, there's lots of things here that have to take place. And I don't even know.
No, Megan, you're talking about right. That's the Anderson Redevelopment Commission. I'm looking for the County Redevelopment Commission. I know who's on the Anderson. I'm looking specifically for the Madison County Redevelopment, which it says. I'm not finding a specific Madison County, Indiana Redevelopment Commission. All right, go on.
So let's hear what the council has to say.
Okay.
Let's see what the first one, this first part is about. And you be the judge. My heart goes out to the officers, all of them, even Detective Preston, who serves me with a ridiculous subpoena.
Well, he's not county, but
I'm saying all officers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. So this is Beeman here in the black. And then this is Kim Owens over here to the left of him. She's worked the books for a long time for the health. She's wonderful. She, knows where all the money's at. She knows where it's coming in and going out. She knows what they can survive on. She knows what they can't survive on. She's kind of like the mom, And then
who's this left-handed weirdo right here?
So
in
he's
red?
Second in command. I think that's Warren.
Oh,
I think is his name, and he's second in command.
Yeah, left-handed freak.
So, I don't know.
All right, here we go. My brother's left-handed. Here we go.
Oh, because his gun's on his side.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can certainly get closer to where our expenditures are.
Well, I think part of what we're grappling with is the fact that each line that you described makes sense. It's just the collective that is overwhelming to one of our resources. So I think one of the questions I would ask for sure is if what would be the top 3 priorities here relative to what we would cut? Like, what would be the first thing you cut if you had to? Because we're going to have to cut something, and
Sure.
we would just assume you make that choice because you're the one operating the budget. You're the one who knows best. What or what wouldn't we cut? Or we could go the other way and say, well, what would be the things that are just absolutely necessary?
Well, absolutely necessary is, of course, the maintenance on our fleet, because that's their office. Either replacement or maintaining those at a proper level for pursuit vehicles. The big cost.
If I was Beeman, I would say, okay, top 3 raises. What was it he was wanting?
He wants to know what the top 3 things they should fund.
I would say raises. No, I know what was Beeman saying that he wanted. I would say raises would be the top.
Now, I want you to know where we're looking at on this video, they have been raking them, all of them, over the coals for for about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just, we're just giving you a clip of what's, you have to listen to the whole thing because it's, the responses from the council is so absurd.
Okay. Raises are a separate issue. All right. Okay. So what are we looking at cutting? So
Well, let's listen to this.
here's the bottom line. I wouldn't say cars, because here's what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing that like Henry County did. At the end of the day, it's not the Plan Commission. At the end of the day, the cars, when the cars break down and they don't have cars, they are just going to have to do it. Like, they're not going to be like, well, we're out of cars, we just can't answer calls for service anymore. They're going to have to be like, all right, well, general fund. So if I was him, I would be like, all right, screw it. The reason I ask about the Redevelopment Commission is because Delaware County recently made a deal with our Redevelopment Commission, and the Sheriff's Department went to the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission and received a bunch of cars paid for by the Redevelopment Commission. And so, I guess you guys don't have something like that over there. That's wild. But
no, we have lots of funds. It just depends.
Well, right. But the Redevelopment Commission is like its own body.
Right.
And so they would have funds that they could spend, that they could make it deal. But like I said, again, for some reason, you guys don't have that.
They use the food and beverage a lot of times.
Sure.
They use those guys. They've got these little areas where they can take money from. They know they can. But, and if you listen to this whole meeting, if somebody took the time and you listen to some of the ridiculous departments and what they want.
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't, this is a no-brainer. The area that all 7 of them are trying to pull from is the wrong. This is not the department you want to cut corners on.
Yeah, right. All right, we'll continue along here and see what they say.
So now you're talking investigative aids of flock and body cameras. That certainly weigh that. How much does it save you going to litigation? Versus we settled it because they come in and see the body camera, or their attorney see the body camera, so well, there's no need to pursue this any further.
So that would be the number one, like, do not change.
Well, somewhere in there, yes, and then that's, but just like every year we go through these steps, we know that it takes $400,000 to feed the inmates, or 300, whatever that number is. But I mean, it's going to go up next year. Because if we get the jail together, we have all of our inmates together, as opposed to just 270 of them over here at jail.
Yeah, I think there's a fairly common understanding that we're required by state law to man and operate the jail, right? I think that's fairly common understanding.
Right.
Yeah. We're going on a diet. But we have that responsibility. The Sheriff's Department is different than that because there's some degree of flex in terms of what we pay, how many officers we have, how many cars we have, I think to some extent that's not state law.
Right.
So part of what we're trying to get at here is this is a big budget. And it's a substantial increase, and we're confronted with the fact that we don't have these resources. So,
but they do.
We're going to have to figure out what our options are.
Sure.
And we would love your help with that.
Well, I see a lot of it as being safety, and then what really affects us is that ARPA money. I mean, not having that funding for the ARPA money is really hurting our budget. I mean, that would be a hard one to decide. What do you cut? I mean, you don't want to risk safety of the officers or staffing. You don't want to risk their vehicles or,
Well, every decision we make at some level is a risk benefit. The question is it best to have 20 officers or 30 officers or 40 officers? Which is the safest? Well, who would argue with 40 compared to 30 or 20? But the reality is we have a certain number of funds available. The state, we can't make up funds. So the state gives us a certain number of funds to utilize. And so we're trying to figure out how do we?
Well, certainly.
There's gonna be a tension, I guess the fact is there's gonna be a tension that exists between, everything could be conceived as public safety. And so, every cut could be conceived as a cut to public safety, you know, and so, yeah, I mean, I think what we're trying to do is figure out what's the way to get the best and most for the resource that we have. Does that
Well,
make sense?
and that's, and I guess the first one, if you're gonna look at the cost savings across somewhere, would be the vehicle replacement. We just string out the vehicles another year, and, you know, or only half, a third of the laptops are getting purchased versus, you know, all.
Yeah, is there
55
a
of them.
department strategy for those? I mean, where you kind of line up, this is what we have, this is what we want to do over the next 5 years or 10 years, in terms of staging?
Yes, the vehicles, like if we take the $100,000 and then say, okay, well, we can get, you know, 6 vehicles over the course of the year with that. So we put those 6 in as we get them. And then the vehicles then push through. So the vehicles mileage will then, once a new patrol officer gets his new vehicle, then the vehicle he had at 110, 115, 120,000 miles, then gets pushed over to the jail or to the GC side, or, you know, we go over to MCCC. And then we use those, or a pool car. So when an officer's vehicle goes down, now we have a backup. You know, we got 3 of those
Yes.
right now. And I think they're all 3 being utilized. So we got cars, you know, people getting deer and getting hit by an ambulance and things like that. So they just cascade down until we get so much miles, and then we use for trade-ins to try to bring the cost down when we do direct purchase. So yes, there's just because we pull a car off the line for a patrol officer, then it goes, you know, it gets utilized for several more years by some entity within a department, a reserve officer, or you know, those type of folks. So.
Okay, so that's I'm sorry, I want to know your
Sure.
preferences. So for the sheriff's department, the one thing that you want to remain the same in this budget would be the maintaining of the fleet, right?
The maintenance of the fleet,
Maintenance,
yes.
yes.
Yes, because if
So
we're,
the repairs and maintenance.
yes.
Okay. That's number 1 for you. Okay. And what would your number 2 be?
Someone needs to get up at the next council meeting, and they say they give you 3 minutes. Someone needs to get up and say, I want you guys to remember always, no matter what you're doing, before you start speaking, bend the microphone around and put it right to your mouth.
And that's the
Don't
thing.
speak. Don't speak without doing it. And then when you're done saying that, say, okay, I want to make sure you are aware. What are we going to do? You're not going to ever speak unless that microphone's, and take all 3 minutes to just keep saying it over and over and over. And when they say, okay, we got it, say, no, I'm going to take my 3 minutes because I want it to be beat into your heads so you're aware, so we don't ever have to talk about this ever again.
How many times do I
know.
consistently
I
say,
know.
can you speak up? Can you talk in the microphone? Can you do this? And here's what I want to ask you. You know, for you people who believe that you voted for a physician who had a brain, I just want to tell you that people can be very smart and have zero common sense. And that's where we're at with this.
Well, yeah.
Let me tell you why I'm saying this. I don't know what world Dr. Green lives in. I get it. When he sees a patient, he sees one patient at a time. One. Okay? And that's usually in an office setting. Let me tell you something. Sometimes when I was an ICU nurse, I would have a patient in the bed. I'd have 5 IV lines going on. My patient is intubated. Okay? Now the patient starts going bad. Now this patient, it takes 2 nurses to work it. Hey, wait, now they're going into cardiac arrest. Now I got to have somebody on chest compressions. I got to have somebody recording the code. I got to have somebody drawing up the things. I have to have somebody getting me the paddles. So let me explain to him. When an officer is out in the field and somebody is pulling a gun, it's not going to be a 1-to-1 situation. Okay. We don't know when these things are going to happen.
Right.
So we should be staffing them with enough officers with appropriate pay so that when these things happen, we will be okay. So his logic of, oh, well, they would want 40 people. You know what? This is a high acuity county. There are lots of things funneling through this county. I get it that the prosecutor's office wants to screw around with election tests and that they feel that they've got something to bang their chest on, even though during the whole election process, we're watching the elected clerk and Tim Lannon and the ES&S people, to me, forge ballots, shove them through, lie to the people in front of their faces and say we've got all the ballots, which just blows my mind that you would take officers and put them on something so ridiculous as you have, but you won't call out your own people. You cannot say this is the number of officers we have to have because we have 129,000 people in this county. You just can't do it.
No, well, yeah, no, right.
And it would be the same thing when I was in the hospital. Well, you only have 12 patients, so you guys only need 4 nurses. Well, 3 of them are going bad. So no, we need more nurses because we got 1-to-1s.
Very. I don't know. In a lot of other areas around here, very seldomly do we see people from like the medical field, such as doctors specifically, involved, because you're dealing with such a bizarre job that you don't really have time to give it the political field what you need to in this position that Green is in. I would say that's probably almost a deterrent, but there are highly intelligent people that are also not doctors or they're capable of being this. But the idea of someone being smart, not capable of making dumb decisions or dumb ideas, that's stupid. Obviously, very intelligent people make all kinds of dumb decisions daily.
And part of me wonders now, the more that we've peeled back the layers, Green used to have his own company and he was the physician for the jail probably about a decade ago. And he was removed after so many years. I don't know. Somebody said he was out there for about 20 years with a nurse practitioner. He was then removed for whatever reason. Maybe he didn't get along with somebody. The contract was up. I have no idea. But part of me wonders if this is a vendetta. Like, you know what? You guys took me out of there. I was the physician, and now I'm going to show you who's really got control. I get the last laugh. Well, this isn't a laughing matter.
That very well could be, but just to be fair, the council was always very hard on Beeman, even before
they have been
came into the picture.
Right. When Mellinger came up there, it was like, yes, what do you want? Let me give you more. Is that all you want? No, really, you want another 20,000? Let me give you a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's what is so disturbing to watch this whole thing unfold.
Yeah.
So.
But it's just, the whole thing that people need to realize is these people that I've said it time and time again, these individual people, Rob Steele, Diane Likens, they might have wonderful relationships with people in their lives, people that know them on a personal basis. They might be grand and it might just be beautiful and wonderful, but that does not mean that they make the best decisions as elected officials. It's possible for someone to have a great relationship with somebody and then for them to step away in another role and make bad decisions. And time and time again, we see these people make the same bad decisions over and over. There's no sound reason while they're making the judgment calls they're making. It's just like willy-nilly, and it seems as though they're just playing a role that's already been written out for them by the commissioners or whatever, because that's the number one thing.
And I don't know about any of you, how you live your lives or what your vehicles are like. But all of us know if we do preventive maintenance, oil changes, rotating tires, they last longer.
Yeah.
And I get it that Diana Likens would never know what it's like to need or want anything because, she drives up in her Lincoln Town car. Their family has gotten filthy rich off the people. Her husband has sued the county in reckless recklessly, and then the taxpayers paid the bill of 150,000 of what we can count, but we know it was much higher than that while his mom voted on all that. I mean, the reality is Rob Steele, he used to be an officer in Lapel, and look at him. He never speaks up for the fire. He never speaks up for the officers. He just sits there and wants to drink whatever he's drinking in his cup.
Was he a full-time officer or a reserve?
I think he was a reserve officer.
Because he certainly doesn't seem, he does not carry himself
Right.
like an officer. He doesn't seem like he's been on or done any length of time. He seems like a complete doofus.
Yeah. And then you got Jonathan Culp, who wants to become like a reserve officer.
Oh yeah, that's a bad idea.
You know, and it is. I mean, you know, and then let me get this right, Jonathan. You want to come on to the department, but you don't want to fund it. I mean, what are you thinking? You think they want you to have their back when you don't have their back when you're sitting up there and can determine their money?
Are we just in his first? Are we
This
just
is
in
the
his
first 6 months of pain between Green, Culp, and Grabowski?
They all need to slow down and just kind of learn. That's the problem with Green being the president.
Absolutely.
Really, as much as I would hate to say it, the president should be Bethany, but honestly, the president and vice president of the council should be Bethany or Jody or Steele or even Likens. It should have been one of the people that's been there. It should be Bethany, but I mean, I wish it would be Bethany, but it is what it is. It should not be. You should never have a new person come on this council and say, oh, okay, I'm going to take over, because these people are still drinking from a fire hose, and the council's pretty laid back, honestly, but they're still trying to get their bearings. And
Green believes he has all this knowledge. He's been on boards, and this arrogance.
Yeah.
And you know, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see him give somebody one warning and throw them out of the meeting. I think this is going to be a grand thing to sit and watch. And you know, I don't know that these people understand, you know, have people ever looked in my case?
Yeah.
My case is where you can go and see lawsuits and things like that. I was in there the other day, and I wish I had more time on my hands, but I don't. Do you know that I counted over 50 open cases with the commissioners on lawsuits that people have brought against them? And I had to stop because it was getting late. I wish somebody would put a spreadsheet together and tell me how many open cases, but you have to be able to look at it from all different angles. And this would include the sheriff's department and the health department and the clerk's office, and because all of them have issues.
Yeah.
And the mentality in this county is we have all the money and the power. You peasants don't have that much, because why? We've raised your taxes. We're making it where you can't live so that you can't ever fight us back. And that's the truth. Most people are like, well, I can't do that because I can't afford an attorney, you know? And this is the sad reality of what's going on in America today. And all of us need to be pushing back. All of us need to be showing up at meetings. And I get it, it's summer. You know, a lot of people are very busy in the summer months. School's getting ready to start. Some went back this week. Some will go back next week. But at the end of the day.
What did you just say?
Back to school?
Yeah. What?
Yes. So now parents can.
Did you say some have went back to school this week?
Yeah. We already had people go back to school yesterday.
Who did?
I think Anderson went back to school.
Anderson school system went back to school.
Yeah, I think so.
In July?
Yeah, it's July 31st. Yesterday was July 30th.
Yeah, dude, but that is gross. That's what's wrong with America. That is so stupid.
It's this balanced calendar thing that they're all doing.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Anderson is back in school.
Yeah, often learning. Anderson Communities welcome back students to class July 31st. So it was today.
Hold on, let me look at this. Muncie.
It's on the front page of the paper.
City School 2025 26 calendar. Let me see this. This is gonna freak me out. Here we go. When are we going back to school, kids? Tell me about it. When's the first day of school?
Yorktown's going back Tuesday.
New teacher orientation, July 31st. New teacher orientation, Friday the 1st. Holy shit. Next Wednesday. Dude, that's gross.
It's the reality of it.
That's so gross.
Yeah, I mean it's the reality of it. So,
right.
you know, at the end of the day, our officers deserve better. And if I was leading the officers, this is my advice to you. I know that you guys have a responsibility to be on the roads. I know a certain amount of the roads have to be monitored. You have to have a percentage out there. But August 7th is the next council meeting. No, is it? No, it's August 8th. No,
The next.
it's August. What's the Tuesday? It's August 12th.
Is it the first or second?
Second Tuesday.
It's August 12th.
August 12th. So let me back up. Monday, August 7th is the Parks Board meeting where they're going to take land by eminent domain.
Wait, Monday, August what?
August 7th.
No, the 7th is a Thursday.
What's Monday?
Monday's the 4th.
Then maybe it's the following Monday. Let me look at a calendar.
Tomorrow, Friday's the 1st.
Yes.
So Monday's the 4th.
I got so many dates running through my head. I've got the Parks
I
Board.
thought the Parks Board met on Thursdays.
Well, they did.
So
And
Thursday
then-
the 7th would make sense.
Here's what this says. It says August the 7th, 2025.
Thursday, August 7th.
Okay. So they meet on Thursday. The commissioners are going to be this coming Tuesday. What's that?
This coming Tuesday is the 5th.
So August the 5th at 10 o'clock commissioners meeting. August the 7th at noon will be the Parks Board meeting. And remember, they speak first. If they have any time left over, you get to speak.
Who does?
The Parks Board.
Okay.
But they always cut off in 1 hour. They do not go longer than 1 hour. They don't care what you constituents have to say.
That's ridiculous.
Now, what they're going to do is they've changed gears and they're going to put these 2 anchor parks in. At these 2 anchor parks, they're going to go along the river. Now, who owns all the land around those anchor parks? The Lycans.
I was going to say I did, but
So I just want you to know that you're not allowed to call anybody out on the council if you go to the podium anymore. Now you can follow that rule, but I'm not following the rule. So, so that's why this trail needs to go in. The trail's going in for the Lycans to be able to, do write-offs, and they've donated land and they're doing all these things. So they're on a whole, or they'll make the county buy a certain amount of their land for way overpriced on what it should be. Because why? Nobody audits them. You can't get their records, so they can do whatever they want. So they're going to backdoor this park in, right? They only have $4 million. It costs like $1.2 million per mile to do a trail. This
sounds
trail
like Diana Lycans like in the back door. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this is trails between 8 and 10 miles. So it'll be interesting to see how all that. Somebody was yelling at me saying, well, that doesn't even, I didn't make the rules. Listen to the videos. They're saying all that stuff, not me. So I'm just telling you what they said. At the end of the day, there's so many parts moving in this county. More people are going to have to be involved to help keep everything straight. I mean, like, I can't even keep up with everything anymore. It's just so corrupt. But the officers do need to get paid before we have no officers at all. I'm telling you, the officers are getting restless. I would line that both walls.
They need to.
In that county building. I would line the back walls in that. I would line that entire place with officers.
They need to. They have to take a role in this.
They do. They do. They're going to have to show up. And let me tell you, the dispatch center, that's exactly what they did.
What they did.
Guess what happened? Suddenly I think it was October, voila, they found all the money they needed to raise those people.
Well, that's the thing.
Reality.
Nobody's going to care about their pocketbook the way they do. And if they want to make a change, they're going to have to stand up and show these people what they want. And, we can all be there and agree on lots of different things. Like I can fight for them to get raises. I can also want to speak and get mad at them if they think they're going to carry me out of there or whatever. So like lots of different things, but I want them to show up. I support them, what they're doing. And I think they should. I think they need to show up and show out. And
I've always said they should get raised. I've always thought they should get raised.
Yeah.
So that is the reality of all that. This park trail, Catherine's not against a park trail. Absolutely. I'm all about it, but the timing is not right. That's what becomes.
There's just so many more issues that seem
that are
to be
pressing.
more pressing. Which, real quick, before we go, I figured I would give you a little bit here at the end if you want to talk for a few minutes about what's going on with the water. Like, I completely don't know what's happening. I'm starting fresh on the water. And so just real quick, let me say on this. I don't know what's going on. I believe the people that have tested the water themselves. I know that shit can happen and maybe something was wrong and maybe somebody pooped on themselves and then tested the water. I don't know. Or maybe they were clean. I don't know. So we're going to start from scratch. What I did was I issued a records request to the to the town of Alexandria for what they've got back. They're going to do one of two things, people. They're going to either comply with the record request after talking to their legal team, or they're going to say, oh, no, they're going to blow me some kind of shit. And if they comply, we'll have them. Okay, this is like a choose your own adventure that I've written and that they're reading now. And so this is in their ballpark. But whatever page they choose and wherever they go, all leads to me getting the records. It just might be now or it might be later, and it's up to them. So they can give me the records and we'll have them, or they cannot give me the records and we can go through that fight. I can issue a records access complaint to the counselor and we'll go through that process and she'll rule in my favor or whatever, and then they'll give them to me then, or they can still deny it and I can file a suit with that. And they can deny, so whatever. But at the end of the day, they will give me those records. And until I get all of that and really go from there, I have no clue what's going on. So you can take it away if you want to talk about it a little bit.
So as far as the water goes in
Alexandria,
in Alexandria, Maroon Township, I am at a loss for words. I'm going to tell you that anybody who would bring me complaint would be worth investigating. There's an absolute problem that a constituent has brought positive results and nobody has tested her water. Nobody. And to do it now, after all this time has passed, for them to be able to treat the water and now it may be negative, that's not really fair to the constituent. It's not.
But my question is, if all this chaos got them to treat the water and the water is now good, is that
Absolutely.
good? Okay.
Yes, and that's what you want. You want the water to be treated.
Yeah.
The issue is that people are going to have to periodically still check the water to make sure that they don't let their guard down and do this. And so, and here's the thing, just be honest with the people. Show us your treatment logs. Say, hey, this was a problem. We treated the water. This is what is wrong with owning that. There's nothing wrong. This isn't a gotcha moment. This is, we need somebody to make sure our water is safe and clear.
Yes.
Now, Lisa called last week after that meeting and asked for somebody to come out. Nobody has gotten back to her still. But in the letter they put out, they said, oh, yeah, it's fine. The water's fine. But what I want to draw, this is what concerns me. And many of us have watched Aaron Brockovich. Many of us have watched Dark Waters. Many of us have seen Flint, Michigan. It wasn't that the people brought it up and then people just jumped on board and said, hey, let's do this. It was that other people who had, levels of education, more people had to get involved that had, degrees. And I want you to show what I just sent you. This is very disturbing to me. And if anybody is watching with an open mind, look at this post that I made a couple hours ago that is it makes me scratch my head. Are you paying attention to me?
Yes, I just got a response on something. Go ahead.
So put that post up that I just sent to you.
You're talking to the people, not me.
Well, I need that post up.
Yeah, I'm posting it.
So this is what is so strange. Okay. None of this is photoshopped. This is coming to you with what we have. I have posted links. If you do not live in Monroe Township, I encourage you to mess around on the websites that I have given you. So go to the pictures there, Christopher, down to the pictures. You see this picture? A couple weeks ago, we put this one together on the left-hand side if you're looking at it. On the left-hand side, what's it say in the far column in that yellow?
Order 11, violation identified.
Okay. Then if you go over to the right picture, this was after everybody started complaining. And what does it say?
Which one?
The one on the right.
4-1 through 725.
Yeah.
Undetermined.
So how did those two change? This is from the EPA website. So I don't really understand this letter. I don't understand what Item's doing. I don't understand what HML Labs is doing. I don't understand what the water company is doing. I don't understand what the constituents doing. You know why? Because this is how they want it. They want so much chaos and confusion that nobody knows what in the hell is going on.
Well, so let me pause you here and let me give a little bit. I know people don't like advice, but I'm going to give it anyways. The reason is because I've been doing this for a long time. And I know that when I first started doing this, and I thought, okay, here's how we do this. We put everything out and we let the chips fall where they may, and we broadcast everything and we do this. Then I learned that there are a lot of things, 98% of what we get and what we deal with, bang, it can go out. But there are some things that I get that I maybe put something out, but I don't put the whole thing out. Or some things, there are things that I'm currently working on that I haven't put anything out because I have to get other pieces.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on.
I fully agree with what you're saying.
I'm not saying this towards you. I'm not saying this towards you.
I agree with what you're saying.
Citizens and stuff. So what I'm just saying is when you said like in the future, citizens are going to have to test and things like that, this is probably what I would do. In the future, go do the tests, talk to each other. Like, they can talk to you, they can talk to me, they can talk to Lisa. Don't post anything on social media.
Yep.
Don't make any big, long posts. Don't go live. Go get lots of different tests, lots of evidence. See, that's what they do. You do in a criminal trial. They don't go collect the evidence and post it all out and say, here's what we're going to get you with.
Right.
Collect all the evidence and then do one big bang. And then this is what it is. And okay, now we got to answer for this and whatever. Because when we're putting all of the information out every day, it lets them counter what we're doing. And then it's like you said, they want this confusion.
Well, and here's what I want people to understand. The lesson has been learned. I take full responsibility to this. I apologize to Lisa for all of this.
For what?
Because it was a double-edged sword. So we knew we had positive water results. If we didn't give that to the people and more people got sick, then they'd say, well, why didn't you guys tell us that? But the lesson has been learned. And there is nothing in me. I'm telling you right now, I believe this will come again. There's no question in my mind that the water is going. Listen, the systems are old. It's going to happen. I'm not worried one bit. We may have to wait 6 months. We may have to wait 10 months. That may just have to be how it's going to be. It will come, people. I promise you.
Or you know what? Maybe they catch. Here's the thing. People message me all the time and they're like, hey, you haven't talked about Dan Ridenhour. You're like, are you not talking about Muncie anymore? Or you don't cover Sproles anymore. I'm like, look, it just means I don't think for a minute that people that are bad or government are just all of a sudden got good. I think shit's just not happening. They're on summer vacation. They're quiet. Maybe they're tired for a minute. It's life. Like, relax. Maybe they had a death in the family, or maybe they're like cheating on their spouse, or who knows what's going on. Let's just let it ride. Sometimes no news is good news. And if shit's not breaking loose in your community, that's not a bad thing. That is a good thing.
Right.
So maybe they caught it because of the action of you and the citizens and the show and everybody else or whatever. And maybe they're just going to stay on it. That would be good.
Right. Right. And I want to address Stumblefoot. And what he says to me right here, what you pointed out, Catherine, should be concerning to everyone. Changing their website is ludicrous. People, I cannot. You should see the posts that are going on in Monroe Township right now. I mean, it is so crazy. Let me read this one post to you, because I'm not going to say this person's name. I'm not going to.
Total chaos. I can't even follow it.
Yeah, I mean, it is total chaos. But I want because listen, small towns, it's about popularity contests, right? So the city of Alexandria is so corrupt that people in prominent positions want to harm you? ? Do you know them personally? Yeah, I do. Do you know their passion for our community? Yeah, I do. Have you asked them personally to have lunch and just listen to the facts? Yes, I want people to know I have had a personal conversation with Jeremy Van Arman. No one in the city is getting rich trying to hide shit from anyone. Not that you know of yet. I've stayed quiet for a while about this, but it's time to stop. Let's listen to IDEM results. They were released today. Or let's keep going and say the deep state is behind it, in collusion with our small community. Where does common sense start and likes on social media end? So I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, it's kind of like the commissioners with the drains. Just be patient. IDEM has fined them. You're not allowed to speak at public meetings. The health department is nowhere to be found. And if the public has positive results, they're the problem. A very interesting turn of events to hear from this community. Response: I get the utility bull shit, but I personally have been in the ditches with most of the city employees and elected officials. Not one of them has a bad bone in them to hide anything. You would love our small town and should get to know them. Politics is the last gain or power any of them desire. You should move here and get to know them. All my respect and thanks for your insight. That is in itself. And what's so bad about that? Can he walk down and say that to the Wyckoffs? Can you look at that? You know what? No one is saying these people are bad people, right?
Right.
But what people don't always understand is it only takes one bad person to take out the people that are around him. I mean, guilty by association. You're out with a bunch of friends. That friend murders somebody, and now all you guys are on the hook too?
Yeah. Listen, and this is the thing I hate that these people do. They're like, oh, you're saying it's the deep state. It's this. It's like someone says deep state equals ultra rich. Look, it's Alexandria. There are no ultra rich people there.
Right.
Okay. There might be some like the Likens, the family that's got this dynasty in Madison County and this or that or whatever. But this doesn't have to be evil from Satan coming to take over the people of Alexandria. It might just be some dumbasses.
Right.
It just might be some people that have good intentions. What do we have? What's the quote about good intentions? Yeah, maybe they made some bad choices. Maybe they just don't know what the hell they're doing. That's possible. And as far as this, I don't know if this is IDEM or EPA or what this is. I don't know what the deal is with this website changing. It's a big problem. It is a problem. And I think it needs to be addressed. I think what we need to do before just completely going crazy is we need to reach out to them and say, listen, 2 weeks ago, we looked and it said A. Now we look and it says B. Can you explain this? And we need to give them a chance to explain it. And we need to publish that explanation. And we need to have that out here. I've noticed that everybody and their brother is all of a sudden using AI to post all the posts in Madison County.
Yeah.
That's fine if you want to do that. I use AI for things, but then I change it to where it's not just the AI shit. It's my own content, because I think it's fake if you don't do it that way. But I've noticed that people are like posting these like fake articles and stuff. Like, listen, the one thing that you want to do if you're an activist is you don't want to get caught up in putting out bad information. You don't want to put out bad information, and you don't want to stretch the truth. Let it be what it'll be. At the end of the day, if the information is good, then that's a solid, because that's where you live and you want it to be good. You don't want it to be all screwed up and fucked up just because, oh, it's cool to be fucked up. That's insane to me.
Right. And the whole thing is that I am not worried one bit. There is nothing in me that believes that the water specimens that the constituents were gathering, that they did it incorrectly, or that they tried to change it, alter, and there's nothing in me that believes that. Okay. But originally there was nothing in me that was concerned with the city collecting what they did until I noticed that what they had put on their website, they were saying was from a child's home that they had tested the water. And when I looked at it closely, it was actually coming from City Hall. So the thought process of people who believe that, she just wants to say everybody's bad. No. Catherine never wants to say anybody's bad. But when you show me that you are manipulating something.
Yeah, the cover-up is always worse than the crime.
I got a problem with that. And now you're going to send out all these little things in my head that say,
sure.
Okay, did you guys change the water? What'd you take it in? Did you actually put in bottled water? I mean, those are the things that you're making go off in my head, because I have no idea why you put that it was City Hall's water, but then you made it look to the people that it was the water from the home that the child was bad at. These are the kind of things that don't shoot the messenger. I'm over that. I get up the podium and I tell you that they're misappropriating $100,000 of funds, and everybody sits in the room and no one can speak and say, wait a minute here. We're all upset about this. Why is Catherine the only one upset about this? That's where it's not going to change. That's where, and the day that this happened to me, Bethany Keller was not in that room. But the 6 people who were sitting in front of that podium, not one of them could say, wait a minute, I'm the fiscal body. She's got a point. He just said we've spent $80,000 and I'll be back month after month till the end of the year because I got more coming in. And nobody said, whoa, slow your roll. You can't do that. We're going to reprimand you because you had no problem 2 years ago when I was in the coroner's office and you were telling me that I misappropriated fund and I spent too much money on autopsies until, oh, that's right, with your threatening letter, I show you the Indiana code says absolutely, as I can spend as much money as I need on autopsies and you can't say a thing to me.
You have to pay it. Yep.
Right. And you know what I got after that? You're just making up autopsies. You're just sending people to autopsy. You are kidding me, right?
In Muncie, people used to get paid for tearing down buildings that didn't exist. You're having people cut on that haven't died.
I'm just saying, like, you people make no sense.
Yeah.
Delaware County is bringing all their bodies to Madison County. How do you think the hospitals are going to feel when they find out that what they're volunteering to our county, now you're taking care of Delaware counties?
I need to find out why that's happening, because that used to not happen.
No,
we've got a really good morgue system over here. And
yeah.
We had our pathologist was wonderful. I know Dr. Mellon retired.
And that might be the issue. Because it's been
going
on for a couple of years now, right?
What?
And here's my thing. It's been going on for, is Madison County charging the coroner's office in Delaware County?
I bet so.
Okay. Now, if they are, is the Madison County Coroner's Office giving that money to the hospitals, because they're the ones disposing of our biohazard, not us. We leave it there. We leave it all behind. It's the hospitals that are cleaning those autopsy suites. It's not us. Now, this is the problem with all of this. And I've known about this for years. This is not new. This started right after Adam took over, because you guys had somebody retire or got sick, and then it's just always stayed that way. It would be interesting to see how much Delaware County has actually had to increase in transport fees or paying people to take bodies over. That would be interesting as well. So now the word on the street is that this pathologist is thinking of getting his own space, kind of building like a morgue-like area, going to bring all the bodies there, charge our people for all of that. And wait a minute. Did Catherine say we needed a morgue 4 years ago? 5 years ago? And now all of a sudden we're going to have somebody come in and do that. Well, what happens, people? What happens if the pathologist dies, or he retires, or we have to switch because he's gotten too expensive? What happens? Do we go back to the hospitals? Do they welcome us with open arms with the same that they're doing now? Why aren't we taking care of our own and making our own? Tell me, does a firehouse not have fire engines? So you mean to tell me they got these fire engines, but they're going to go house them over at St. Vincent's or over at Community? Why would I expect them to house our bodies? Why would I expect them to be the area where they do our autopsies? This is what I'm talking about. There are so many issues in Madison County. It's unbelievable. And yeah, I don't talk a lot about the morgue and what's going on with the autopsies, how much money is being spent, but the numbers are very high. And I said that back in 21. We're only going to get busier in Madison County. These bodies are going to get stacked up. It's just a reality. People are getting sicker. We're going to see more suicides. We're going to see more overdoses, because what did we allow America to do when we handed out those, paychecks, stimulus checks, or whatever all the time? We just allowed them to buy better drugs. That's what we allowed to happen. So at the end of the day, there's lots of issues. If you're watching and you've been on this, don't give up. Do not give up. It will come. You just have to pace yourself. This is a blood sport. You've said it many times over, Christopher. This is truly the Hunger Games of politics. It truly is. I mean, you're constantly moving and moving and moving and moving. And that's what becomes the issue. I have no doubt if they fix the water, and I think if you went back to Lisa and I's very first video on July 3rd, and we said, if they fix the water and it works and it's all corrected, then we've won too. We've said that all along. But you know what? Give the people an explanation.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of all this. I will tell you, over there at the pole barn, they had those drownings take place and some other bodies. They said the smell was so bad because it was so hot and it was permeating through the cooler into the pole barn. It was awful. Well, yes. And where does that ventilation system go? That ventilation system on that side is hooked to the 911 dispatch. This is what became the problem. The problem became that what if we took out dispatch and made them sick? Then what? And nobody wanted to hear about that. COVID was airborne, people. This is real. So I just want people to be aware. I want people to know about this. All I want is for the people to be better. I have nothing to gain from this. I can go sit over in my area, just see my patients, go on about my day, and never worry about another thing. Right? I mean, I could.
All right, I got breaking news here real quick, just to clarify. Sorry, that's why you want to come on here and get all this. So, number one, Madison County is no longer doing our autopsies for us.
When did that stop?
Back in 2023. So
Well,
this is
that's
not
interesting.
all
That's
right, hold on.
interesting because I'm told they were still going on this month.
Well, so let me explain to you what's happening. So we're obviously back to doing our own. I said they were for a while, weren't they? And I'm hearing I got the answer was yes and no. And then the answer that I got back from that was Madison County only does an autopsy for Delaware County if our pathologist is out for some reason, sick, on vacation or whatever. I said, okay, cool. I said, when that happens, obviously we're paying them, correct? And the answer I got was, well, yeah, we're obviously paying for them either way, and it's roughly the same. I said, okay, that's
No.
fine.
Wait a minute. Let's be clear.
Mm-hmm.
The pathologist is an independent pathologist.
Mm-hmm.
So they would be paying the pathologist directly. But what
Mhm.
about the hospital? So like when we go to Fort Wayne,
That I don't know.
yeah. So they're not paying Madison County. Ask them.
No,
Are
right.
you paying the pathologist or are you paying Madison County?
No, it's the pathologist. It's
Yes.
the pathologist.
And that's the
So-
thing. When we go to Fort Wayne,
Mhm.
we have to pay to take it costs us a couple $100 to use the facility.
Well, I don't know what would do that. So this goes on and says,
On top of paying the pathologist.
so they did them. So this is the answer. They did them for about 6 weeks while a doctor was out on medical leave. Our pathologist was out on medical leave. But that was it. They said, other than that, we're back to doing it. And I said, he said, so random. That was back in December of 2023. And so they said, yeah, that we obviously have our own pathologist does it, but anytime there's a situation where the pathologist is out, similar as Madison County. I mean, if the pathologist in Madison County is out because he breaks his hand and can't use a scalpel, Madison County is going to have to find someplace else to do
Correct.
them.
And we never had that when I was in the office because there were 2 pathologists,
Yeah.
so they would trade off, right? So we were never without one. We just took our children to Fort Wayne because ours weren't certified in the children part. So we wanted to make sure we didn't lose any cases. And that's why we made that decision to go all the way to Fort Wayne. Was it more for the taxpayers? Yeah, it was, because we're traveling to Fort Wayne, but I'm not willing to sacrifice a case over $100. I'm just unwilling to do that. And so, especially when it's a child. And so that's kind of what I want people to understand with all of that. But it's just one of those things that we need to be better equipped in Madison County because we are so busy. I mean, one time I had a patient who was 700 pounds. Our equipment only went to 500. That's what became the problem. So I had to take that body over to Hamilton County and store that body until I could get an autopsy. And we ended up having the autopsy done. We had it at in Noblesville because it was too much to transport him back. I mean, it took like 10 of us just to move the body, but it was an overdose. We had to have it. It was the reality of it. So there's so much that goes on in the coroners world. I do miss it. And I'm not upset with any of them for helping each other out. Absolutely. I would do the same thing. I don't have any problem with that, but we have to be careful that when, St. Vincent's and community are offering us space and they're not charging us. And I still don't think they're charging us. Then we have to be aware of that and not take advantage of that. So, but things have changed. I've been out of there for a couple of years now, and it is what it is. But those are the things that we all just need to be aware of. We need to keep each other accountable for. And I'm all about helping my neighbor. But at the end of the day, people ask me about Alexandria. I do have several patients up there. I have many, many, many patients up in Alexandria that I take care of. I've had many that have had cancers. I'm not saying this to scare anybody. Maybe they got it because it's just a rural area and we have pesticides. I don't know. Maybe they have what they have just because they worked in factory work. That's a possibility too. But I just want people to be mindful. I don't know that brown water is normal. I don't think it's normal.
No, I don't think that's. What do you mean, Mark Hickman? Who the hell's Mark Hickman?
Green is Delaware
Our
County.
corner is Gavin Green. Before Gavin Green, it was.
And I like Gavin Green. I mean, I don't have any problems with him. He's running again. You should vote for him.
Scott Hahn's been our corner. Clevenger was our corner. Stonebreaker was our corner. We've had lots of different corners, but Mark Hickman hasn't been any in recent history.
To end this show, because I know we've gone long, can we just talk about Terre Haute? So that is that Vandenberg? What is that?
No.
What county is that? That's where we do the death chair, I think. So
Rick Howell was before Gavin Green. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can we do the article about the sheriff in down in Terre Haute?
Yeah, what's going on down there? I was thinking you were going to say Du Bois County, but we'll do that next week. What are we going on in
Du Bois?
That's the guy that was under investigation by the ISP, and when Braun came in.
Sheriff? I thought it was in Terre Haute.
What are you talking about?
The sheriff that's under investigation with the commissary. Well, I guess he's not under investigation.
Yeah, that's not in Terre Haute. That's Du Bois County.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I want to talk about.
Okay.
You got it? Or I can send it to you.
I've got all kinds of different things about it.
Well, I'll just send you this one because I've read this one, and so I'm up to date on this one. This is an interesting case, but I want everybody to see the trend. I thought that the prosecutor in Madison County was the only corrupt person, but now I realize it's everywhere, right?
Right.
And so they get, everybody, do you understand how special prosecutors come about? So special prosecutors coming about is like, I believe the prosecutor in that county gets to pick a special prosecutor.
Not always, but sometimes.
Right. And so what I would do is I would call Christopher and say, hey, I need you to do this case. And then
no, it does not go like that.
Okay. Well, I think that's how it goes.
Okay. But that's not right, though.
And then because here's the thing. We've seen a trend of who they're picking for special prosecutors. And it's kind of an interesting, you can kind of connect all of them. So anyways, what Christopher doesn't think, but I still think it's like, hey, see this case? Okay.
Well, no, I know that, but it's because I've been involved in it. So that would be like me saying, well, I think a doctor's office, when they go in there, they fuck up everybody's charts and what they tell you is complete lie. That just because I think that doesn't mean it's true.
Well, no, like if I need somebody in, I have a certain person that I call and I can get you to surgery tomorrow.
Right. But that's not okay. You're right.
So, well, and maybe you know, it is, but after reading this article, I really have lost a lot.
This has got nothing to do with a special prosecutor.
Yes, it does at the end of it.
No, the issue here is that not the special prosecutor. The issue here is the state police. The problem here with this is the dirty actors. The dirty actors here are the governor of Indiana, the state police superintendent, and the detective. One of the detectives that was put, and then they just went to the special prosecutor and said, "Hey, we're not going to do anything here. There's no charges, and that's that." They would have went to any prosecutor. Now, if a prosecutor had any guts about them, they wouldn't have done this. But there's far more nefarious people here than these. I don't know the special prosecutor. So there's a whole big long thing here, and I'll probably look at this more in detail next week. But
the gist of it, you want to tell them the gist?
So the sheriff in each county. Sheriff is in charge of the commissary. Commissary is a fund that the inmates can buy items that they need to live, right? Like food and other items that they need. It's a bigger deal in prisons, but they still have it in jails. And this fund, this commissary fund, for those of you that have watched the show, you've heard a lot about the commissary fund from Henry County, because there's been this great big back and forth battle between what's legal to spend the commissary on and what's not. And it's kind of like, if you think about the commissary fund, very similar with some twists to the mayor's edit fund. Basically, the commissary fund is kind of a quote unquote slush fund that the sheriff can go to use. That being said, the difference is it's still kind of governed by the county council, the fiscal body, and the sheriff has to come to the fiscal body twice a year, and they have to give a presentation on what's in the fund, how much money's been used out of the fund, what the fund has been used for, and they have to give an accounting, and it has to be very, very down to the cent. So it's supposed to be very controlled, unlike the edit fund. But it's just an idea that it's not something that the county council puts money in or like takes. It's not like the general fund. It's something the sheriff's in charge with. And so it's something that can be, it's ripe for being abused if you don't have the right people keeping their eye on it. Well, for those people that are not familiar with Du Bois County, the county seat of Du Bois County is Jasper. And if you're not familiar with what that means or who's famous from Jasper, the governor of the state of Indiana currently is the famous resident from Jasper, Du Bois County. Governor Braun is from the area, and the sheriff down there, Kleinhelter, is the sheriff. Okay. And he has been the sheriff down there. Tom Kleinhelter is his name. And he has been thicker than thieves, buddies with Governor Braun. He was friends with Braun when Braun was in state government. He was friends with Braun when Braun was in Washington, D.C., and he's been friends with him back here. He's endorsed him. He's been in a bunch of advertisement for him, similar to how Sproles was. He had his name all over his campaign. And while the campaign for governor was going on last year, basically what happened was, just as a routine audit, the Indiana State Board of Accounts picked the commissary fund in Du Bois County to audit. And when they went there, the auditors that were involved with going through the commissary fund, one was a former sheriff and one was a former federal FBI agent. So these are people who are used to law enforcement investigations. They're not just, somebody that was like, I was a school teacher for a couple of years and now I work for the State Board of Accounts. These people know what they're doing. And quickly they looked at it and said, whoa, something's not right here. So coming on the backs of Jamie Knoll and everything that happened with Jamie Knoll, the State Board of Accounts took their finding to the county sheriff and to the government down there, and the government was not helpful. They stonewalled them. So then they took this to the state police, and the state police said, we need to look into this. And so Doug Carter, the former ISP superintendent, what?
The former state police chief.
Superintendent said, okay, we need to look into this. So he assigned a detective to it. And the detective got to doing his thing. A special prosecutor was called because they didn't want the person in Du Bois County handling it because he also knew Braun. So they picked a special prosecutor. And after just a couple days, with no investigative record, no search warrants offered, no police reports drew up, with nothing, no one questioned, no interviews, that detective, without talking to Doug Carter, his boss, went to the special prosecutor and said, there's no case here. There's nothing to do. And Doug Carter hears this and he's like, wait a minute. I'm looking at this file. There's definitely a problem here. Who told you to do that? So the state police superintendent takes that detective off the case and he goes to somebody that he knows is impeccable. And that is the state police detective that investigated Jamie Knoll. Now, this guy is beyond reproach. And this detective looked at it, and this detective issued a lot of state police search warrants. He interviewed a lot of people. He drew up an 88-page probable cause sheet and did all of this. And they were going forward. They were having lots of interviews, back and forth conversations with the special prosecutor. And everybody was on board with there's a problem here. This sheriff and his wife were doing things wrong. They were taking trips to Dubai and doing other things with this. And it was all wrong, all kinds of badness. And then in about November of last year, right after the election happened and right after Braun became governor-elect, all of a sudden, it was radio silence. The detective from the state police could no longer get anyone to call him back from the prosecutor's office. They could get no help. And at some point, the first detective that said there's nothing here, he called that second detective and said, give that sheriff back his phone and anything that you took from him because there's nothing here. Well, that detective's like, well, who the hell do you think you are? He gets in contact with Doug Carter. Doug Carter's like, I don't know what's going on here. And then click, January turns over and we have a new governor. New governor comes in. New governor appoints a new state police investigator. Within weeks of this, the state police was not in it. Excuse me. The special prosecutor, the defense attorney, and the sheriff sat down and came up with a press release saying that he had been cleared of all wrongdoings and there is no filings. Now, Doug Carter...
And he's paid back X amount of dollars, even though it's not the full amount.
Yeah. Right. Doug Carter, then, now nobody. He's a civilian now. He's now blowing the whistle on this and saying, wait a minute, something screwed up here is going on. And the only person that can be pointed in this direction of what's happening here would be this top cop in Du Bois County, the sheriff, and his friendship with the governor. And then on the back end, the special prosecutor. People need to come out and say what's going on. Were they contacted? Who contacted them? Obviously, it wasn't Braun. It was probably someone from Braun's orbit called them and said, hey, nothing's going to happen here. So here's the documentation. This is a big deal. And this is a very, very, very big deal that's going on. And I hope it causes more issues to come up. So it says, affidavit outlines investigation into Sheriff Kleinhelter's misuse of public funds updated. We have attached the search warrant affidavits to the story. Each was granted by Judge Anthony Quinn, which I think was the cop on Dexter. Two more at the bottom of the story. And here's the search warrant. The search warrant was issued probably down at the bottom, but any and all information. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to put this in here. Okay, so here is the
Well, the thing is that the special
you go on while I'm doing
prosecutor,
this.
yeah, the special prosecutor is like, no, we're not, he's not going to face any charges. Well, that's the same exact thing in Russ Willis. So I
Oh,
hope this does get opened up again. And then what I
yes.
hope is that people will come back and look at Russ Willis's thing and say, wait a minute here. This guy truly committed an election crime. You guys are going after Larry Savage. And if that during a testing session is so absolutely critical, then you got to go back and get the GOP who actually committed a crime during the actual election process on election night.
Yeah, yes.
So
Yes.
I'm like, you know, that's the whole thing. Fine. If you guys want to go after Larry Savage, you better go get Russ Willis.
Well, hopefully they will do that. The other thing about this situation here in Du Bois County is the detective that did all of this good work and did all of these search warrants and said, yes, there is an issue here. The detective that did beyond amazing work in the Jamie Knoll case, he now has been punished because of this work. He has been removed from his assignment. He's no longer allowed to teach, and he's no longer allowed to do a lot of the things that he was doing. His career has essentially been ended.
The state cop?
Yeah, the Lieutenant Jeffrey Huron, who did. So there's two. So
and this is what I mean. Are you people really willing to sacrifice yourself to save these? That's why I'm not worried about what's going to happen in Alexandria. It's going to take care of itself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, so yeah, so there's 3 state cops we're talking about. Actually 4. There's the former superintendent, Carter. There's the new superintendent. The new superintendent is doing what Governor Braun wants. The former superintendent says, we follow the case where the case goes. And if the case says nothing happened, nothing happened. If the case says this sheriff was a screw up and is a criminal, that's what it says. And we don't care if he's friends with the governor. That's the reason he's the odd man out. Now, there are also 2 other state troopers. There's the first detective, Detective A, and Detective B. Detective A originally said, without doing any investigation, there's nothing here. There is no here. Okay. And then number 2, the Detective B said, wait, there is a case here. There's a major problem, and he worked this case. And just because we had an election and a new governor took office, that new governor has now replaced the superintendent, and the detective that initially got the case the second round and did all of the work, because he then dared to question what was going on. He wrote an email, and the email was very calm. The email just said, why are we doing this? How was this decision made? You made this decision without contacting me. I was the investigating detective involved. Why was I not, part of this? Because he wrote that email, he has been suspended. He got like 2 days off without pay, and they reassigned him to some bullshit post, and it's totally ruined his career. And that is the bigger issue. This is corruption from the very highest level of Indiana government, and we're going to take a look at this. I'd plan to take a look at this next week. I didn't know that you were talking about this, but yeah, we will look at this next week, and I'll go through everything. I haven't had a chance to get all this out the way that I wanted to, but it is good that you brought this up.
And that's my whole thing is that this is clearly a problem.
Yeah.
So I hope they do. I hope this thing goes wide open, because I'm going to bring up, okay, maybe I already have sent it to some people. I'm like, look at this and look at what Russ Willis got. It's the same thing, right?
Well, I don't think the governor stepped in to stop it, but.
No, but the fact that a special prosecutor said he is guilty, but we're not going to do anything. It's an election crime. You guys have made this other situation go on to like national news. You've made this big ordeal about it, but your GOP, I would think that'd be more national news. Your GOP, who knows the rules, broke them, was found guilty and still walked. That's craziness.
The thing that happened in Madison County was definitely crazy because she came out and the special prosecutor ruled that a crime had been broken. I mean, it was definitely a crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
I think that
I just appreciate you guys listening
Yeah.
to me. I know many of you are tired, but I thank you for listening.
yeah, as always, anything that we can do, I will continue following what's going on with the record request from Alexandria as well as the record request from everywhere else. Oh, Nora responded back to me. Okay. So, if you all remember, I'll just say this just really quickly in briefing in closing. If you remember at last council meeting in July, Nora told everybody that there was a meeting that was scheduled for today. I made a post about it last night. The post just simply said, important reminder, later this morning, July 31st, 2025 at 9 a.m., the Department of Local Government Finance will hold a 2026 budget workshop meeting for the city of Muncie. Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour, along with Controller's Office, will attend the meeting as usual. However, this year, the mayor said that he will welcome attendance from city councilors who wish to join. This is beneficial since the council, as the city's fiscal body, must vote to approve the budget. The insights shared today will help guide the administration and the city council as they work to create and pass a budget that will hopefully reflect the city's needs for 2026. The administration and the council will need all the help they can get this year because the budget process won't be routine, mainly due to the impact that Indiana's Senate Bill 1 passed earlier this spring, mainly due to the impact of Indiana Senate Bill 1 passed earlier this spring. According to Councilor Nora Powell, State Representative Sue Arrington told her that Muncie is expected to see a $1.6 million decrease in property tax revenue for the upcoming 2026 year. That is something that will absolutely need to be addressed, along with all of the other surprises that will pop up during the city of Muncie's budget process. Stay tuned. Today's workshop will help set the tone for the entire process, and I'm sure there will be some big decisions ahead. I posted that. I sent an email to Nora last night that said, Councilor Powell, I am wondering if you can advise prior to attending the workshop this morning at 9 a.m., how many city councilors will be attending? Will it be a quorum? Because I wanted to know if this was going to be a thing that they hadn't publicized, if this was going to be open, yada, yada, yada. Okay. I sent that to her. At 8:04 this morning, she wrote back, I don't know who the controller has invited to attend the budget workshop meeting. I just find that to be rather odd because she was going to go. I mean, she should know if her people are going to go. So, whatever. But she played the games. I then sent her a message at 8:30 this evening saying, can you now advise who was in attendance? To which she just responded at about 10 o'clock. The meeting for today was rescheduled. So I think that's rather interesting. And it's kind of like very late notice, very strange. She couldn't have responded that earlier. Why was it rescheduled? Was it up to the mayor to reschedule it? Was it the DLGF? What's the deal? We'll have to look into that and find that out. As I said in the beginning of this is the budget time, and we're all in for a bunch of surprises. So we'll keep you posted. We'll obviously keep looking in Muncie and Anderson and Winchester and Newcastle and beyond, and anywhere else you guys want us to look. Thank you all very much. Catherine, last word.
I just say be diligent, be aware, and if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, don't second guess yourself. It's probably a duck.
All righty. You guys, thank you all very much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a wonderful tomorrow. We will not be here tomorrow, and we will not be here Saturday, but you will want to tune in Sunday for the 500th episode. So, all right. Well, good night. Have a great weekend, and God bless.